Sorry about the stutter. I don't have much control over that right now. Now, in addition to situational relevant reference like meaning needs that we've been describing, the next level deals with cognitive bias, sensory preference, learning style, and deals with broader constructs. Again, whether it's a database or it's an intentional curriculum course, it's a free database inquiry or course, we've still got these two different nest levels. We've still got the component pieces, and we've got a whole, another level of whole. At the next level up, at the representational level, our interface is designed to deal with different biases, again, both sensorily and from a cognitive point of view. And this is the part that deals with various learning style theories. So, as an example, assuming that somebody was in a particular course, if they go here, which means travel inward to the meaning intention, and again, the placeholders, these are all placeholders. They're just images to kind of help convey what I mean right now. If I travel in here, I see that there's 4 different gross channels that I can travel down to get representation support. One is down to earth, practical, day-to-day stuff, right? The bottom line. The other is the empirical, the deductive, right? The more scientific, the logical. The third is the conductive, the metaphoric, the emergent, the beautiful. And then finally, there's alternative languages. And when I say finally, I mean that provisionally. I mean, all of this is going to change as it grows. This is a starting set for us to work from. So for example, let's say I suggest the down to earth. Well, when I do that, we've identified 6 other sub-threads in ways to represent down to earth. So there would be the central thread, and meaning by that, right out of the textbook, the central thread, the spline that connects the experience that is our old version, our new version of what used to be one size fits all, whatever we think is the most generally available bandwidth or center spline through this course or through this learning space. The next things would be the key points or central assumptions. The next, the essential idea or core insights. The lecture, like lecture notes, a commentary or coach, and current event relevancy. So these would be more economical. They would tend to be more related to day-to-day experience, and they would be more traditional. In case, let me cycle back for a moment. In case this is not coming across here, I'm saying that whenever a learner is learning, let's say that there's a particular intention, either that they're trying to come home to, understand, or that the education system has developed as a intention. We want this understood. That I want to call that whole particular point, okay, a meaning module. We have an intended meaning here. We were trying to communicate. We're trying to get across. And with respect to every one of these intended meanings, these are different ways to look at or represent access to that intentional meaning. So what I'm describing is that there are 4 gross ways to turn this, right? One is to look at it through a different language. One is to look at it to more grounded day-to-day stuff. Another is to look at it more scientifically. Another one is to look at it more musically, more beautifully, more aesthetically. Thank you. And each one of those, once I turn it to that way, may have other lenses that are more finite, more specific in helping me get to how it will most make sense or resonate for me. So for example, in the scientific, if I wanted to look at something more empirically or more reductionistically, it might be, what are the laws and rules that are related here? What are the relationships, models, implications, the natural history or epistemology, the essential structure or activity, the statistics or measurement processes, or the formula or proof. In the conductive, we've got the history or personalities, the story, the arts or drama, the conflict. And this is really important. A lot of times I notice that there's a way to really apprehend what's meant by looking at the gap caused by some disagreement, by where the conflict is between two different points of view. And then the other side of that is convergence, the dialogue, actually participating in more of a dialogue process. So you're seeing this movement go back and forth, and that's how you come to it. It finally would be something more declarative, more poetic, more aesthetic, like the beauty or elegance. So actually, so when we come here, for example, it starts off with a central thread, or it could start off with any one of these. When the learner moves into this space, they could be situated to come up with any one representation. I'll explain more how that works as we go. But while we're here, if the learner says, gee, I don't really have a lot of problem with the words, but I don't get this, I want to look at it differently. Like, let me see the key points. Boom. Or let me see something much more essential. By the way, of course, everywhere I go, I have the capacity to call whatever resources might be helpful and just build them in. They're just part of the background. We're not making a big deal of them. That's just part of the way that it can breathe through the surface to get support for what something means. Now, in addition to these representations, our system is designed so that it can provide interface to things that people have built long ago. It doesn't have to be something that's been designed or built specifically to run here. So for example, if somebody's already made a computer program or a movie about this, that, or the other, our system can subsume that and interrelate it according to this kind of a relationship process. So as an example, this is a simulator. Somebody else built it. It takes us a second to integrate it into our system. So somebody here might play with and adjust different things about gravity. And it's not like they've got to go off somewhere else in the world. It's just there. It's just an available resource whenever it's a relevant resource. When I leave it, boom, they go right back to where they were. This, for those people that are familiar with Macintosh and HyperCard, this will also allow me to integrate any stack or any other piece of HyperCard work that's been done by anybody and subsume that into the system in a way that, let me see if I've got that connected right now. If I can see myself. I think I can. This is a stack that somebody else made that just kind of floats around in public domain about gravity and the Earth and Sun and so forth. And I can choose to go through and look at various things. And whenever I have a problem here, I can launch what I call the flying shuttle, which is a miniaturized version of our interface that overlays what somebody else has built, which will allow us to go into the different types of reference support, right? Travel to a different representation, and this might just be one of them, or say, no, I've seen enough of this, and go right back where we left our system. So our system is not only has its own way of allowing for this interface, but it can subsume anything that's been made that runs on a computer anywhere and link it into this kind of a relationship process pretty effortlessly. So that's representation. So going back to where we left